All right, well, just give us a second, everyone, for this to go live and nobody talk so that we can never know exactly when it starts. Thank you, everyone. Welcome, and we are grateful that you are with us here in Topeka for Torah Club, as we are on Wednesday, as we are wont to do. We are reading the end of Kohelet in this class. You can go through our previous live streams to see all the other chapters as we went through reading them. But today we are going to start here. So let me get that up on the board. And as is usual, we will offer our blessing for the study of Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. If you say amen, you get full credit.
Amen.
Here we go. And so we are happy to be here in Kohelet 11 as we struggle with Kohelet to understand the condition we all must live in. Shalach lachmecha al pnei hamayim, ki verov hamayim timtzeenu. Send your bread forth upon the waters, for after many days you will find it. Right? And what is that? It's good to do good things.
Yeah.
Put good into the world.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Good will come back to you. Now again, this is like, right? He's not giving you proof exactly, but like he's like, this is his again, this is we're getting some proverbs, and this is, you know,
You get rewarded according to your actions.
right. Theodicy. It brings back theodicy, and it doesn't say when, but it does bring back theodicy.
Being an impatient man talks about patience.
Well, I mean, it certainly implies patience, right? It certainly implies that one should have patience.
Franz Kafka says impatience is a major sin.
Kafka being a famous Talmudist. Not exactly, but
If you send your bread upon the waters, you're giving and not expecting anything specific from anybody. That, by the way, is seen as a way to deal with arrogance. When you are self-centered and give without expecting to any return, but just to give, you are gradually working towards eroding too much self-esteem.
and we know later another Jewish way of saying the same, you know, a corollary to this, you would say, would be that Maimonides saying that one who gives without knowing for what purpose is giving to the high, you know, without knowing the receiver or anything to, and the receiver not knowing them is the highest form of charity. And so the prioritization is the same.
If I give $10 million, you're gonna put my name on the outside of it.
No, we will. No. Again, Maimonides has a ladder of charity.
Yeah.
And he says that it's all good, all parts of the ladder. And he would say that's just a lower rung.
Right.
You could, if you gave me 10 million, I'd be happy to put your name somewhere. But that's not, but he says the highest level is for you to give that 10 million to somebody and for them to not even know where it came from or for what
And as a
purpose.
treatment for self-centeredness, it's the best treatment.
And you shouldn't know, sorry, to get to the highest, you shouldn't even know them. you shouldn't be picking them that way. It should be, yeah.
You just give. Because you're giving to the whole, and God made everything.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, from Kohelet, we get this idea that right after many days. How many is Verov Ayamim? In the multitude of days? That could mean anything, right? It's like saying
That's a
the years gone by. How many years was it? It doesn't really matter. It's it means the past.
But the
like,
truth is
and this means the future.
You've already gained personally if nobody ever says anything to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the need to combat self-centeredness, which is built into a helpless organism like humans, and some of them don't give up that feeling of helpless and needing other people to take care of them instead of feeling
Well, certainly
That's what God-
Judaism exists to support the idea that we should take responsibility for
Absolutely,
being adult, fully functional
sure.
human beings, and then should choose to be in community with each other anyway. That's the, Judaism isn't about the idea that you should live in a community because we all need each other. We do all need each other in some ways, and you should help each other. But we're not in community because we all need each other. We're not just animals huddled together because for protection and warmth and whatnot. No, instead, we should be fully formed individual human beings who then choose to be in community with each other, who then choose to help each other and be a blessing. That is the way we're supposed to be.
Mhm.
And in that way, we're more than animals. We're real human beings, what God intended for us to be. And so that's the order that Judaism would like you to find. Okay. So we'll go to verse 2 now. Tein chelek, right? Give a piece. Or as the translation here says, distribute portions to 7 or even to 8, for you cannot know what misfortune may occur on earth. Right? So divvy up what you've got. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know anything could happen to you or your stuff or
Amen.
at any time. And then it says, if the clouds are filled, they will pour down rain on the earth. And if a tree falls to the south or to the north, the tree will stay where it falls. Or, yeah. Yeah. Whoever watches the wind will never sow, and whoever observes the clouds will never reap. Right? And of course, right, this idea that one who, right, I love this, who watches, shomer ruach. It's like one who like covets or protects the wind, right? A shomer is a guard, is a, so, one who guards the wind.
Wind is often thought of being like the Holy Spirit, isn't it?
Sometimes it's used that way. I mean, sometimes ruach means spirit, or we use it for soul metaphors too. Yes.
Right.
But literally ruach.
One of the
wind.
degrees of the soul, nefesh, ruach, and neshama.
Yeah, I know. I don't really like those degrees of the soul thing. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of that. But I just don't. Myself, I don't hold with that.
Does the Talmud not talk about them? I know Kabbalah talks about.
Kabbalah does. The Talmud says different things about those things, but I'm not always a fan of what those rabbis say. But we'll get into.
In levels faith.
Well, but what?
You said there's 3 levels of the rule.
Yeah, one is the body, one is the breath, and the other is beginning relatedness with the supernal powers.
That's Kabbalah. I don't know
That's
anything. To
Kabbalah.
be fair, I don't know anything about. I'm
Yeah.
not 40 yet. I'm not allowed to.
But
learn that.
as a psychiatrist, I know there are multi aspects to every soul. Nothing is so simple as to be.
He's talking about divisions, and we don't do.
I was thinking,
divisions.
well, would the unconscious correspond to one of those levels?
No, I think at all of them.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's the way. I'm not sure those two divisions lay on each other evenly.
But unconscious are way of perception, and these are not.
Anyway, anyone just to see with verse 4 here, I think we get instinctively that like if you're always like waiting for the right moment, then you're never gonna seize on the opportunity. And if you're always wasting your time staring at the clouds, and we literally call people still like cloud watchers or like people who are lazy and what you know what I mean? Like so like if you're not doing the stuff you're supposed to do, you're not gonna reap all the stuff you were supposed to, and therefore
You won't
Right.
plant seeds because you're busy just observing.
right. And so you're not an active part. Remember, Kohelet is going into this over and over again. So this is a theme we come back to. You are an active participant in the world. If you choose to not be an active participant in the world, you might as well not be here. Kohelet says. If you're just going to sit by and watch, you're not right. It's Teddy Roosevelt would very much agree with Kohelet on this point, if not much else. Right, the man in the arena.
95% is showing up.
Sure, yeah, I mean, I don't know who said that, but it sounds, I mean, okay. Kohelet would at least certainly agree that it's so important to be actively be doing something in the world. Now, again, what you're doing isn't necessary. You're not trying to create some great name or legacy or wealth or build buildings and things like that's not necessarily it. Although building buildings can be good if it's in service of, like, if you're building a hospital that's going to treat people so that more people will live and do more in the world and contribute, like then you did something really great. That's wonderful. It's that's not hevel, that you're doing something really good. If you're doing good in the world, you're perpetuating something that builds the world towards its ultimate conclusion in some ways, towards the ultimate state of creation it's supposed to achieve. That is good. Too many people do nonsense. They don't do stuff, or they do the wrong kind of things. Anyway, we get here. We instinctively get verse 4, I think. Just as you do not know how the life breath passes into the limbs within the womb of the pregnant woman, so you cannot foresee the actions of God, who causes all things to happen. Now, no, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say it, but you could say it. We know that now, don't we? Right? When Kohelet said it,
we didn't.
It made more sense, because if you'd gone to somebody 3,000 years ago and said, describe to me the stages of fetal development, they'd have been like, I mean, the belly gets bigger and then eventually the baby comes out. Yes. If it all goes Baruch Bezrat Hashem, B'Shah Tovah, we say. Whenever someone says in Judaism, whenever somebody says they're pregnant, what do we say? We don't say Mazal Tov. We say Mazal Tov. Mazal Tov, like congratulations, you get when the baby's born. What do we say before that? We say B'Shah Tovah. B'Shah Tovah, which means a good time. In a good time. What does it really mean? In a good time, that might not make that much sense. May it come to pass, in other words. May it all go the way it's supposed to. May all, so we say B'Shah Tovah just to be like, like we're not putting anything into the world. We're just saying, may it all go the way it's supposed to. They would have said the same thing. They would have said, may it all go the way it's supposed to, because they didn't know the state. They weren't meeting for ultrasounds and doing that.
And now we are simply observing how it is supposed to go.
But now take this. Okay, so I've granted your point. This says, just as you do not know. Okay, fine. You know this now. You're very smart. We're all very smart. We all know it. Society knows it. We're very smart. Let me rewrite the verse for you, if the rabbis will not be so offended for our modern age. Just as you do not know what happens when an object passes through a black hole, so you cannot foresee the actions of God, who causes all things to happen.
Sure.
That works.
Sure.
All you have to do is go beyond our scientific knowledge, beyond our physical knowledge. If you wanted about the body, we can do that too, right? I'm sure you could come up with, just as we don't know exactly what causes the brain to do X or Y or Z, doesn't mean, just as you can't know that, you cannot foresee the actions of God. And one day, if we do know that, there will be something else that we've learned we do not know. And we'll say, aha.
You're talking astronomy, but what we don't know about quantum mechanics is a huge amount of stuff.
I know so little about quantum mechanics, I don't even know enough to make the proper reference, and I don't want to sound like a fool on the internet. So I went with things I can at least say and with some degree of understanding the shadow around it.
The black hole work.
Well,
that's good.
The current issue of the Scientific American talks about a new kind of magnetism, and the old one reaffirms quantum mechanics, and I can't understand either of them. I'll go ahead and try.
Well, so, I mean, here's the thing. But again, Kohelet would say, don't work too hard on trying to understand quantum mechanics, because that's like not that the greater understanding is hevel, just that you don't need, like, you, Sam Bradshaw, probably don't need to know quantum mechanics. Like, you're probably okay. You'd probably be better served, Kohelet would say, doing so many of the other things you actually do. Not that you were about to abandon everything you do at synagogue to go be a quantum mechanics studier or something. But that's the kind of thing he's on guard about, right? He's like, don't go get a degree in quantum mechanics because you think you need to know that, that kind of thing. Instead, do good in the world.
Well, and in quantum mechanics, all they know is the mathematics that predicts, and they have a slightest idea what really it's about. Why do you have two things at great distance being connected?
Very true. Okay, let's move to verse 6 here. So baboker zara et zarecha. So do the sowing of the seeds in the morning.
Right.
And don't hold back your hand in the evening, since you don't know which is going to succeed, the one or the other, or if both are equally good. Now, again, today, maybe your agricultural knowledge might be a little, we might have enough technology and whatever that we know the right time. But the point here is taken not literally about farming, but that take every opportunity, right? If you can sow in the morning and in the evening, and if there's any chance that doubling your effort will increase your odds of something substantial, whether a good crop or whatever,
Right.
that you should do so with double effort, even if the you should do so in that way. Right. So Kohelet has talked now about, you should work hard, you should do these things. And Kohelet says, how sweet is the light. Umato kaor. V'tov la'enaim li'ot et hashemesh. And how good it is for the eyes to see the sun. Right? Because existing in the world, I feel this verse 7 all the time in the world. I feel it a lot, especially this time of year when I leave here today. It's going to be a little chilly probably. That's why I've got the Faco sweater thing going. But some days I leave here at this time of year and it's 70 degrees and it's sunny and you walk outside and we got a big field out there and you just enjoy that for a second.
Yeah.
And that's what he's going for here. Even someone who lives many years should rejoice during all of them, remembering how many the days of darkness are going to be. The only future is Havel. It says Havel, but Havel. Right? Not that we don't know exactly what'll come forever, right? He doesn't mean days of darkness. Days of darkness doesn't just mean you're dead and so you're in the ground or something. That's not what he means. He means bad times. He does mean that you will die, and he also means that there are people for whom there is a period of old age that is active and lively and wonderful and social, and then a later period of old age that is less that. And so that's kind of what these are the things he's referring to. And he's like, you don't know when that starts, when that ends, how many, there'll be many. It'll exist. And so take advantage. You get all these wonderful good days, take advantage of them. Right. So it's actually a positive message, not a negative message. But when it ends, the only future is is nothing, is vanity, or that's it doesn't sound like a nice message, but it is a nice message. And then here, of course, we get his advice. Kohelet says, Samach bachur, or rejoice, young man. Here it says, O youth, enjoy yourself while you are young. Let your heart lead you to enjoyment in the days of your youth. Follow the desires of your heart and the glances of your eyes, but know well that God will call you to account for all such things. Right? And then it finishes here. And banish care from your mind, and pluck sorrow out of your flesh, for youth and black hair are fleeting.
That's interesting, of course, that's all hindsight, when I was younger, I didn't appreciate it, but now that I'm gonna be 75, in hindsight. And this is the opening line in that movie, Oliver Stone's movie, Platoon.
Oh, yeah.
Rejoice in thy youth.
Right. And this is certainly, look, uh, this is very much, there's also that song by Dispatch, The General, where they use this version of this as it's never mind, don't worry about it.
But it's
You had to grow up when I did to care about that. But in any event, yes, this is very much pulling out the look, he's giving advice. Young people aren't going to take the advice of older people because that's the nature of youth, and he knows that. But he's got to put it out there in black and white and say, just so you know, if you want to really understand life, get a lot out of it in your early years. Really ring that, not, and he says, not bad stuff. If it's bad stuff, again, not God is still going to be, God is watching. It should be good stuff, but you can do good stuff and still really get a lot out of life. Do as much as you can. Be with people. Do all the, instead of being like, no, I've got to conserve myself and wait and just work and be behind the scenes and not do anything and not risk anything because I want to live a long time and have a future where it's this, that, or the other. It's like he's like, no, you got to go for it.
The older age has the benefits.
Of course,
we come to learn to accept ourselves, and
Yes.
and I think Bob Conroy about it. After the age of 65, typically we become more mellow
and Kohelet agreed. Kohelet has also said Kohelet doesn't think there's bad thing. Kohelet would say, because we've seen what Kohelet says about older age at this point, Kohelet believes that there are good things about all the different stages of life. Not that there are good things about being older that these people won't understand and can't enjoy. But they should enjoy their youth. Because once they don't have youth, yes, exactly. It applies to different parts of your life at different times for different reasons. But this particular thing, and
I like that line, therefore remove sorrow from their heart. So he's telling us not to suffer from melancholy and depression.
Yeah, and it really is remove anger from your heart.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
what it says, right?
That's an often blatant part of depression.
It says kaas, which is more anger than sadness or sorrow. It's really like remove anger from your heart, purging evil from your flesh as childhood.
Then you won't suffer from high blood pressure.
Yeah, I mean, there is that, but also like young people, especially in ancient times, like young people got themselves in trouble with feuds and fights and and competition, and he was essentially saying, go about. Remember, I don't know how to say this exactly because this is not an economics lesson, but in the time before capitalism, not all competition could be resolved without violence. A lot of competition inherently could only be resolved through violence. And what he's trying to do is build, without the words and structures of mercantilism, which led to capitalism, Kohelet doesn't have the words to describe a cooperative society in which everyone is striving for growth. Now, he would like to see, in addition to material growth, he would like to see spiritual growth, communal growth, different kinds of growth. He's not talking about the way capitalism and mercantilism were about increasing material wealth and growth, that kind of growth. Though again, that kind of growth leads to the other kinds of growth, perhaps. So he didn't have the words to describe a system in which we all cooperated while competing with each other. Though today we have that system, at least in our society and many other Western societies. And so I would say this system, this capitalist system that the market system that we have, is kind of what he would envision for the youth to be engaged in, not just economically. Not just economically, but socially, to the growth that we've enabled, and therefore philosophically and religiously too.
I
Yeah.
think though, in our current environment, young people are quite disenchanted with the system. From what I've been reading here.
Young people are disenchanted with the system, but the system has to grow and adapt in every generation. And the problem is we address problems as they arise. And in recent years, we haven't really been addressing any problems. We just continue to do what we did 20 years ago or 25 years ago. And the system hasn't really changed at all in the last generation. And so there will come that tension. No, it doesn't break. That's how our system is supposed to work. When people want it changed, it will change. They will change it. Not as it never, I don't believe, as it never has been changed radically. I don't believe they will change it radically through some form of revolution. But they will demand some form of New Deal. Every generation kind of in its own way demands a new deal with the system. And the millennials millennials and Gen Z, who I understand as a millennial, feel somewhat put upon by the boomers.
Yes.
The boomers will have to yield, and when they do, the system will shift. And when the system shifts, things will go back to again, the strain on the system will reduce because the power will shift and the needs will be and the needs of a new generation will be met by their representatives, essentially.
I don't think it will come so calmly and placidly.
I mean, I don't as calmly and placidly as the 60s to 80s power transition from the to the boomers went. It'll go as smoothly as that. To be honest, it'll go smoother if the boomers give in. But
no, that's not gonna
I'm saying it's not going to happen. But if they won't give in, then yes, it will be more unfortunate because there will be more strife because people aren't going to be they're not going to be held back.
being manifested with Mount Dami, and I'm not saying.
Well, the less cooperation there is between generations, the more radical solutions will be pursued.
Well, I'm more pessimistic. We don't love our neighbors ourselves, and
I think we love our neighbors. I think we love our
I agree with
neighbors.
the rabbi. A lot of it we do. 100%. I don't think it's ever been.
No, yeah, I don't think we've ever hit 100%. I think in this country we love our
you use
neighbors.
that word self-centeredness, and I think it's manifested more so in this generation than it has been in the past. But of course, I wasn't around 7,500 years ago, but I was at Barnes and Noble yesterday talking about the magazine cover saying the seniors rule. And I think my generation is kind of.
Yes, but it's never been that way in human history, Chris. It's never been that the seniors ruled society. It's never been that way until now. I know that is the problem. That is the problem. That's why you're going to see more extreme solutions because it's not supposed. We should respect and honor our elders, but they're not supposed to be running society. They are not supposed to be running society. They are running it. They're not supposed to be.
People of Trump's age are not going to run. I mean, you're in your 80s and 90s.
People the same age, minus Obama, essentially, have been winning the presidency since Bill Clinton in 1992. The same generation has been ruling for 30-something years.
We're the biggest voting bloc.
Okay, but I'm just saying you're gonna find that the stress on the system continues until morale improves. And here's what you're not. The problem is the seniors still rely on the working people to have all that stuff, all of it. So if the working people decide the system doesn't work for them, you will find that the system does not work for you either any longer.
Right.
And so it is truly in the boomers' best interest to get out of the way, but I don't see them doing it.
Generally, the English-speaking people have been able to change without a lot of bloodshed. Cromwell was with a big exception, but even then, there wasn't a big killing.
That wasn't a generational thing, was it?
No.
Oh, okay. I mean, like, what do you mean? What do you mean? We kill people. Everyone kills people all the time for power.
What was a break from the Catholic Church, and the Anglican Church in England, and it was thought to be progressive.
Well, I don't need to get into what's progressive and
But
what's
they
not. I'm
came
not
up
their
with a
expert.
creative solution.
I have no idea what you're talking. No, I mean I do, but I'm just saying it's got nothing to do with this one.
Right.
Commandeering the car and steering us way back onto course. We're way off course if we're talking about Oliver Cromwell, who certainly, besides, unless we're talking about how he was kind of thought it might be okay to end the ban on Jews entering and living in England.
That was a good thing.
Yeah, he kind of did it, but it wasn't official, but
Yeah.
he kind of did. He let Jews unofficially come back to England. So besides that, which Jews have been banned from England since the 13th century.
But
13th century, 14th century? Anyway, it'd been a couple hundred
They
years.
gave them a lot of refuge in World War II, the Kinder transport, all that.
Yeah.
Hey, in World War II, the British did a lot more for the
later,
Jews.
yeah.
Believe me, the British did a lot in the view of the Jewish people to build their status back up. The British, before World War II, were basically just above the Romans. That's how terrible
Yeah.
the British Empire was seen by Jews. But beating the Nazis put them pretty high up. Even though the British operated a World War II internment camp of Jews on Cyprus that were trying to reach Israel in between 45 and 48.
Yeah.
And they weren't allowed to leave British custody until Israel was founded in 1948. So people who escaped the Holocaust were trapped in a essentially British concentration camp with Nazis on Cyprus and in Europe because they wouldn't let them go to Israel.
Right.
So even with that, we still kind of like the British
Right.
because they fought the Nazis.
Right.
So you get a lot of points for fighting the Nazis. Just saying.
Their excuse was trying to appease the Arab population.
They got a lot of excuses for a lot of things, but they did some really heinous stuff to us. But we like them because they fought the Nazis. But they were our antagonists in as part of letting working with the Arabs in the Middle East. Anyway, that's another fun aside. So Cromwell, another point in their favor, kind of, for the British. Okay. Chapter 12. We'll move on. Right? So we're gonna move back and talk about the older people just a little bit here. So appreciate your vigor, which is weird because that's not what because the words of the text say ushor et borecha from bore, like create. So it says remember your creator. But remember your creator, we believe, means appreciate your vigor. So your creator made it so that you would be strong and capable in your young years, and that's what that. So appreciate that in the days of your youth, before those days of sorrow come, and those years arrive of which you will say, I have no desire in them. And look, this is tough. I know I have family members where they've reached a certain age and usually late 90s, and they say, life isn't all it was.
Kind of done.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what Kohelet is referencing here. Again, he's trying to teach people like me reading it, in case I didn't know, in case I didn't have family members and I hadn't seen it. He's trying to give me that knowledge so that I'll do the first thing. So I can understand it.
Enjoy the now rather than wait until you're 90.
Right. If you're hoping to save all your vacations for your 80s, he's saying maybe do them in your 70s.
Right.
Maybe don't wait that long.
We're always told we don't have enough money for retirement, you have to have more.
Well, it's the thing. I mean, it's this is the balance because you don't know how long you're going to live. And it says, before sun and light and moon and stars grow dark, and the clouds come back again after the rain. Since an aging person whose eyesight is dimming feels as though the sun does not shine as brightly as it did during his youth, and that the moon and stars are dull. So it's as though the clouds return to cast shade, darkening the sunlight even after the rain has stopped. And then we get more poetry. when the guards of the house become shaky, and the soldiers are bent, and the maids that grown few are idle, and the ladies that peer through the windows grow dim, and the doors to the street are shut, with the noise of the handmill growing fainter, and the song of the bird growing feebler, and all the strains of music dying down. When one is afraid of heights, and there's terror on the road, or obstacles are on the way. For the almond tree may blossom, the grasshopper be burdened, and the caper bush may bud again. But mortals set out for their eternal abode, with mourners all around in the street. Before the silver cord snaps and the golden bowl crashes, the jar is shattered at the spring, and the jug is smashed at the cistern. And these are allusions to the end of life. The silver cord, before the silver cord, which is the human will and strength to live, snaps, and the golden bowl, which is like the stomach, which holds food and water, crashes. The jar is right. The jar is shattered at the spring, and the wheel or jug, used for drawing water, is smashed into the cistern, and the body goes to the grave. And the dust returns to the ground as it was, and the life breath returns to God who bestowed it. And here's where you get again your haruach, it says, which is again the spirit. It says haruach tashuv ela Elohim, the spirit returns to God. Asher natati, or netana, who made gift of it. And then we get our theme again. Havel havelim amar hakohelet. Hakol havel. Right? I love here that Kohelet, it gets the definite article. He's not just Kohelet. He's the Kohelet. But the translations never say that. They just say right. They just say right. But it should be Amar Kohelet, not Amar HaKohelet. I don't, Hakol Havel. Unless it's saying, I wonder if it said he said Hakohelet Hakol Havel. All of this Kohelet is nonsense. That's what I wonder. Maybe because again, Solomon isn't. This is like a character. We don't exactly know why Solomon has chosen this feminine wisdom word to represent himself here. Besides the fact that he's wise and wisdom is a feminine attribute, chokhmah. So we don't know, but I'm just saying maybe one could read. Nobody reads it this way. They all read it as Havel Havalim, said Kohelet, semicolon or dash, Hakol Havel. All is vapor, a futile. But I'm saying maybe you could read it Havel Havelim, utter futility. Amar Hakohelet Hakohol Havel. That all of the things Kohelet has said essentially are futility.
Forget the last 12 chapters.
Right, exactly. Right. In some way, there's part of me that wonders if that's like it's like, right. Maybe he's even saying, because again, the commentary says, since every human life floats towards its end, and very few of a person's accomplishments survive him, perhaps he's saying, even perhaps I will be Hevel in the end.
I like the cliche, advice is free and worth it. What else giving us a lot of
advice. I like free advice is worth what you paid for.
Yeah.
And no taxes.
I'll charge taxes if I'll get them.
Well, if it's free.
Nobody wants to pay taxes to, it's not like in Europe, sometimes you have to pay taxes to they tax you and then you choose what religious denomination you're a part of. And then part of your taxes goes to the central part of that thing. I know Germany does that. But we don't have that either. So nobody pays taxes to me.
But buying a therapeutic model advice, you can't counsel a patient, client, whatever. the words fall on deaf ears. You have to get the person to line, have an.
I should do an appeal during these, since we're online and anybody could be watching. I should say, go to tbstopeka.org and give us a donation if you like what you're saying, right? I mean, we're doing classes, we don't charge for them, but like, you know, maybe people who come online and, right, you want your money to do good. You don't want it to be sitting in a bank account like Havel. Okay, I'm gonna stop now. We're doing, it's too, you don't want to be too much, you know.
Unfortunately, most of these lessons have to be learned through School of Hard Knocks, you know.
Sometimes they do, but they don't, what I think, you're right, sometimes they are.
Most of us are very resistant to it.
I think what Kohelet would say is they don't have to be. They usually are, but they don't have to be. If you read this and you're wise enough to listen to him, then you can learn them by hearing them. But I think he would agree that, yes, you're right. Generally, even if you tell somebody, I have been through the exact thing you were going through, especially younger people, and I know what you're doing won't work, but I can help you. Most of them, even with that advice and help, still won't listen. And will have to learn the lesson the harder way.
As a therapist, that was almost totally useless, listening and trying to understand what's going on.
Yeah. No, for sure. Look, I'm not saying that it should. I'm just saying I think what we're just getting is Kohelet would just say you should try to teach them, understanding that human beings are flawed and will probably not listen.
The crooked member of humanity.
Kind of. However, the thing is that there are people out there who will hearken to these kinds of, there are people who are motivated, even at young ages. I have students here who I see this in, who are deeply interested in doing right and good and in learning lessons that will benefit them in their lives. They may not see it as knowing they will benefit them in their lives, but they see it as learning something important that they can build on. And those are people who I think this is speaking to. Mm-hmm. Those are young people, especially this is speaking to, because it's saying they can take it. Some people, not many, but some can take in these messages without having to learn the hard way. And then they can build on that and really, really do something. And now we're getting, now it's like moving back as we're getting out of the book. It's moving away from Kohelet, right? The perspective. So it's going to say, V'yoter shehaya Kohelet hacham. So beyond that Kohelet was wise, he moreover taught the people knowledge, considered or preached, and investigated and composed many proverbs, both orally and in writing, which this is where we get, this is the source proof that Solomon wrote Proverbs.
Yeah, because he wrote Proverbs.
Right. Is saying when it says
what do they mean by knowledge? I have a negative view of that.
Well, it says he
I think oftentimes the more education or knowledge you have, it's harder. One of my favorite lines is Daniel, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase.
I know you like that one, yeah.
I've read it many times over. And I think that's our current time. Once again, we have this vast internet and we have all this knowledge. And I think somehow we've gone astray.
Well, but some level of knowledge, growing knowledge is good. It's just what we do with it that can be good or bad. Growing knowledge in itself is probably a good, because it's development of humanity, which serves God's purpose.
I think what Daniel's trying to say is knowledge of God.
Well, so here we get the word, what I was going to say is what we get here is the word da'at for knowledge. Mm-hmm. What else is da'at the word for? We call people dati. What does it mean when someone's dati? Dati is the word for religious. Mm-hmm. Da'at isn't just knowledge. It often implies also religious knowledge. So when it says he continued to instruct the people or he taught the people knowledge, the knowledge he teaches them, this, by the way, everything he's taught in this, you might say it's philosophy or what, this is da'at. This is religious knowledge. Mm-hmm. Now, religious knowledge involves God. It doesn't have to be, and God taught, or Moses taught, it doesn't have to be that to be religious knowledge.
See,
Um,
but it's all up there instead of down here.
well, no, it's a communication between here and here.
I'm speaking my own, maybe.
Oh, well, maybe, I don't know.
I may be confused, but I thought da'ah also was used as action or mitzvot kind of things.
What?
No?
What do you mean?
You have chokmah, which is wisdom, you have bina, which is understanding, and then da'ah is the action that encourages.
Again, I don't know anything about Kabbalah, but I'm just gonna take the Hebrew on its own and
Good enough.
go on that. If Kabbalah wants to use da'at as some other
Well,
standing stone for itself, that's its own.
yeah.
That's its own idol, but I think Kabbalah kind of, again, I'm not 40 yet, so maybe I just don't have the brain for it. But to me, Kabbalah is like an inch away from idolatry. It's like so close. I'm so scared of Kabbalah. I don't like it at all. And I think the 2000s were perfect proof of my fear with Madonna and nonsense. Because it can be abused terribly, and it's basically another religion. So just I'm not going to talk about Kabbalah because I don't know anything about it.
Just because that's
Yeah.
I saw.
I'm just saying I can't answer you as to whether that's
All
true
right.
or not. I don't know anything about it.
But in
Um,
Hebrew, it means.
It usually means knowledge. Da'at.
Okay.
Or religion, because we say when someone is married or something in the ketubah, it says kadat Moshe u'Yisrael, like according to the laws or religion of Moses and Israel. Is the text of the ketubah, the marriage contract, the ending of it. We say it ends saying all this shall be considered established and binding according to the laws of right. But instead of laws, instead of hokim, which is laws, it says kadat Moshe u'Yisrael, like according to the religion of. So it means knowledge. It means, but it also kind of means religion. It's anyway. If we click on it here, it's going to say knowledge, perception, skill is the translation. To perceive, which is, good. But I know that the context of it is sometimes that. So we wrote Proverbs, hooray!
Yeah.
Verse 10. Kohelet sought to discover useful sayings. That's no. Divrei chayfetz, matters of value or desire, is better, I think, than useful sayings. And he wrote, and to find that which was written with integrity, matters of truth that have already been written.
How does that differ from Proverbs? I thought they were.
No, this is just this is the same thing. This is.
Okay.
Right. It's a second sentence. Really, 9 and 10 we should have did together. We started talking after 9. The sayings of the wise in 11, the sayings of the wise are like goads or prods, like nails fixed in prodding sticks. They were given by one shepherd. Right?
Was that Shlomo?
No, God. The shepherd is God.
I like this next verse.
All right. Well,
Sure, we can do that. Verse 12. A further word, right? More than that. The yoter mehema. So even more so, Beni, my son. More than that, my son, be careful. The making of many books is without limit, and much study is a wearying of the flesh.
There you go. That's supporting my general viewpoint.
But this is the thing. The question is, how many is many? The rabbi, again, those of us who study Talmud, we would then say, okay, this is an interesting text. The question that comes, so what questions pop out of this verse to you? And the first question that pops out to me is, how many is many? How many is too many? What if God thinks there should be 1 billion books a year, but we're only making 100 million?
You only need one. Or
no, wrong, so wrong, 1,000 times wrong. I need doctors. And if the doctors don't have medical textbooks, we're all screwed. Are we serious? We don't need one book. No rabbi will ever say the only book you need is the Torah.
Because that
Human
doesn't-
society needs more books than that.
That doesn't teach you the physiology of the.
It doesn't teach, right, it doesn't teach you any number of things.
Right.
Now, I would say all Jews certainly should study the Torah. They should do so every day. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't also read other books.
Right.
So so dealing with, I would say, even reading too many books of nonsense is probably the worst thing what's being referred to here, right? Too much nonsense is gonna just wear you out.
Cloud your vision if you have too many books, you get off in too many tangents. I'm basically criticizing myself there, of course. But
Well, no, I mean, I think again, how many is too many? If you reading many books over the course of a year reading isn't a problem, but is 12 books a year many? Is 20 books a year many? Is 40 books? How many is many is my question. That's the question I'm asking. Because what God might have in mind, we don't know what God has in mind. But when Kohelet says too many is too many, that's a very true statement. But too many varies, maybe even by every person.
Exactly.
To each person, depending on what they do, how smart they are, whatever number of things, what their interests are. I mean, if you're a great artist or working with your hands or something, building a Torah stand, for instance, would be a huge blessing to a community and of great honor. You would receive huge honor for that. Does it matter if you're not a scholar if you do that? I mean, this is the thing. So like, it's different for everybody, I would say. And for some people, maybe lots of books. For some people, maybe fewer books. But certainly books are good. The Jews definitely are pro book. That much I can say for sure. Okay, verse 13. And we got here our Soph with the big Sameh. Everyone look at the first letter of verse 13. Look how big it is. Is it big in your book? No? Okay. It's supposed to be. Here it is. You can look at it here. Ooh. No. It's bigger than it's supposed to be. Because Soph, the end. So it's like the sum of the matter when all is said and done. Revere God and observe the commandments. For this applies to all humankind. And really he says that is everything. Kizeh kol ha'adam. This is what it is to be a person. Right? Yara, right? So we gotta be in awe of God. You don't have to say fear God. It's Yara means awe.
reverence.
Right, or revere. Right.
What's-
That's why it says
What's
revere.
the actual Hebrew word there?
Yara. It's
Yara.
from right, and it means to revere, to be in awe. It means to be in awe. And some people say that's like fear. Some people say it's really great, and therefore you should. The word fear gives the wrong. Yeah.
That's a quality of youth oftentimes, unfortunately, to be in awe.
Yeah, they're the most passionate, so they tend to feel all the most passionate emotions the most
We get
deeply.
creative, we take everything.
I think we just as we become more comfortable with the full complement of emotions, I think we are more able to nuance, to use our emotions or to be influenced even by them in more nuanced
I think
ways.
it's an activity of the creative and to be all. I was reading Einstein's
Sure.
biography of Walter Isaacson, and I haven't got very far. He talks about how Einstein was always in awe of things, and he had that. He had your imagination. You have to have the imagination. It all goes together. Besides the knowledge, see, that's what I'm saying. The knowledge is not all. We require more of them. We have to have the.
I mean, knowledge, yes, but I think sometimes we're saying the same thing because the knowledge you have to have in this instance is knowledge of God in order to do things that may not have much to do with God in the world, in order to do good. Now, in doing so, first of all, you should revere God. You should be religious. He's not saying anywhere that you should be like I don't know, like some secular pop star or something, because that's the best way to serve. Like it's, I'm not trying to draw it out to the point where it means nothing. What I'm saying is that it seems very clear to me that you should obviously know God, be in awe of God, because that gives you the right frame set, mental state for dealing with the world the way God wants you to. That's how we best obey God, is by knowing God, because by knowing God, we will do things in the world that build towards the end, the finished creation of the world.
In some ways, gratitude.
And we should do the mitzvot, it says, which means we should do commandments, and we should be a light unto the nations, so that we bring about the time of the Messiah, and that everyone lives in happiness and justice forever. I mean, he's on the team, is what I'm saying. He wants the same thing that all the other prophets say they like. What he wants is the same, but he's actually presenting it in a way that's from the mental side, from the philosophical side, from how this is an argument for how you could not believe in God and you should still act as if you believe in God. This book is an argument for it, because he says in the end, it just is better for everybody in every measure. Even if you don't believe, he says, I don't care whether you do. Revere God and do mitzvot. Do what's good and enjoy what's on earth. If you can just do those two things, then he's like, I don't care what you believe. I'm never gonna ask. Kohelet's like, I'm never gonna know you. I'm off in a jet. Right? But we can all be a part of this project together. I like how here, this last line, so we'll sum up, because it says here, the sum of the matter, when all is said and done, revere God and observe the commandments, for this applies to all humankind. That God will call every creature to account for everything unknown, be it good or evil.
That's a famous quote back to Friedrich Einstein. He says, imagination is more important than knowledge. Right? Isn't that accurate? He said.
Well, yeah, but if you've got all imagination and no knowledge, you're also useless.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
like the problem is imagination on its own doesn't help. That's fine. I don't disagree. But devaluing knowledge is not what I'm here for. No, I just can't do it.
I'm not devaluing it. I'm just saying, you have to. Many people are very bright in mathematics and physics, but you have to have that extra to make a breakthrough, to find something unknown or different. Yeah.
I don't know that I know who can make a breakthrough and who can't.
I'm not saying I know. I'm just suggesting you have to have that temperament, besides pure knowledge. Yeah.
I mean, it may well be. I don't know that I know that, whether that is true or not. All I do know is that what I tend to agree with Kohelet, and again, in 2 weeks, next week we won't meet, but in 2 weeks when we get back together, we'll do a summary. We'll go through some of the major themes, some of the major, the parts that rhyme, so to speak, and we can we'll make a go through everything before we start the week after that with Job. But this has been a wonderful study. I really enjoy Kohelet, and I think Kohelet really speaks to this moment in human history more than any other book of the Torah. And I think that everyone, regardless of age, can get a lot of life lessons and deep wisdom out of the book of Kohelet. I want to first thank everyone online for joining us throughout this series.